welcome to Memoirs of a Modern Marriage. We are your humble hosts. My name is Dave.
And I'm Liz.
And today we have Annette from the Junkies Podcast. Hello, Annette.
Hi, how are you guys?
I am fantastic. Had a nice fun day at work, and then I came home and had a nice fun day laying around doing nothing. It's been pretty nice.
I love those kind of days.
Absolutely. So I would like to know a little bit of what your podcast is about. I see, I've listened to a few episodes. I see that you like showcase your guests in some playlists. So go ahead and just kind of give our listeners just a little bit of what you do.
Yeah, so I don't think it matters if you're an artist or just a regular Joe, right? I think it's important if you like music, I want to speak to you. And I just asked for 10 songs, which is the impossible, right? Most people are like, are you serious? How do I pick 10 songs? I have no idea how I'm going to do that. But they do. I think if somebody asked me that question, I'd never be able to do it. I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? I don't know how to pick 10 songs. Like, that's crazy. But they do, which blows me away. And then we just go through them. I know.
For 10 songs. I was going to send you a list of like, hey, I need you to fill out 10 songs for our podcast.
I'd have been like, oh my God, because my editor keeps on asking me that. And I'm like, oh my God, where do I start? Just let me get 10 songs from everybody else. That's a lot easier. But then, I just kind of dive deep into their playlists, and it's crazy how many memories, stories, things come up from songs that I never even realized it. So it's super fun, and we have fun, and it's very raw and real and outrageous. And wherever a guest will allow me to take them is where I try to go as far as I can without, going too far. Even though I want to go farther, if you listen to like my early episodes when they're my friends, when I can be like really hardcore, then that makes sense. But with people I don't know, it's like I got to feel some boundaries first and see where that is. And I'm pretty good at reading people. So I usually know that the first 10 minutes, if I can swear or if I have to literally change all my questions and pick other things.
Well, I promise you are allowed to swear on this podcast.
We encourage it.
Yeah. Fuckity fuck. But anyway, Liz, would you like to start off with the first question?
How long have you been podcasting?
August 1st will be my second season. So I started just kind of playing around with the idea in the beginning of June. Probably did 5-6 podcasts in June, probably the same in July. And then I launched August 1st. So I'm super new.
That actually brings up another question. Did you like hold episodes back before you uploaded them?
I did.
Just to kind of test out the water?
I did. And I think because when I first started, I really did not know if I was going to publish anything. I didn't know. I was just looking for something fun to do. And I love music. And I have so much fun. So in the beginning, it was like, hey, I'm just going to invite a friend over. I'm going to make their favorite drink, their favorite meal. We're going to get lit and we're going to do a podcast. I don't know if I'll ever post it. And I just did that. And I just kind of did that for 2 months. And then I was encouraged. They're like, you should just post it. Like, who cares? So I was so nervous to post because I didn't really know. I wasn't ever really a social media person. Right. I found it kind of exhausting to post on Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, everybody's posting every day. I don't have time for that. Right? Like, I don't want to go and do that. And then so I probably had just about 30 banked. And then I just went and posted. Wow. Right. Yeah. So now I'm probably at 50 banked. That's what the problem is right now, is that I have so many that are not yet to come out. Like, I just had somebody reach out to me the other day and said, hey, remember when we did that podcast in April? When's it coming out? Right? Like, did I make the cut? Do you like me? Like, do I make the cut? And I actually said, yeah, I absolutely love you. Your podcast is actually opening up my season 2. Right. So it was cool. And I don't refuse anybody. I don't care if, I'm going to play everybody. That was what I wanted to do, regardless of, if I share it with somebody like, I'm like, I don't care. Somebody's going to get some kind of message from it. And it's not about anything else, about just sharing people's stories.
Right. And there is a lot in that. Like, I mean, music makes up people. Like, we build our personalities based on the music that we listen to throughout our lives, you know.
Mhm.
So I think that's pretty cool that you're doing that. So you have 50 banked. You know what I did to her? So I'm like, hey, we're gonna just do a test episode just for funsies, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm gonna play it for a couple of friends and see what happens. And you know, I'll never air this one. That was our pilot episode, by the way.
Yeah.
We went
That's
all in.
awesome.
I
think you have
it
to.
like this. Yeah. I figure it like this. If you're gonna go in, you gotta dive in head first, because like either they're gonna like you or they're not gonna like you. But I've said on
Yeah.
numerous occasions, we've talked about on numerous occasions, we do this no matter what. If we had 1,000 listeners or if we had no listeners, you
Mhm.
know, we enjoy doing it. It's fun. You know,
Yeah, I
it's
agree too. And
it,
when it was just kind of my husband that was like, because we were just sitting around having a glass of wine one night and passing back the phone. You pick a song. Oh, hey, remember this? And he's like, this is what your podcast should be out. And I'm like,
right.
you think? And he's like, yeah. So we literally went into the office and I'm like, what do I? He's like, I don't know, just press record. So that's what I did. So if you watch that episode on YouTube, you see me like going on the computer looking for like a random question and then turning back to him, and like it was just so random. But that episode has got the most views out of any of our anything, right? Because it's so raw and real. And I was like, yes, this is how I want it. Right. But it was funny. I was asking my husband if he's like pissed the bed or ate his earwax and all these random questions. He's like, what? Why are you asking me these questions?
Oh my God, that's funny. And you know, it's funny too, because like people tend to gravitate more towards like reality stuff, you know. Ever since like, you know, when like Road Rules and like, you know, what was that show back in the day, The Real World, came out on MTV,
Yeah.
you know, it's just been a phenomenon. And I'm like, this is a fad, it'll go away. And then it just kind of evolved into something ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it was ridiculous then, but it's evolved into even more ridiculous. And that's what people like. So that's why I think, like, because when Liz and I do like the real episodes, you know,
Yeah.
that's when we get the most views, the most listens, stuff like that, is when it's real. So we've been kind of playing around with more real life stuff. So I think that says that, you know, that says something there. The raw stuff is where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I didn't know if you were.
Oh
gonna...
my God! Ask the fucking question.
So, do you base your questions for your guests on their playlists before you interview them, or do you kind of come up with the questions on the spot?
Most of the time on the spot. This might sound bad, but I don't want to do any research on them. Mm-hmm. Because I want it to be really raw and organic. I don't want to know a lot of their background. Like some of this stuff, you know, obviously if they've reached out to me on social media, we've had somewhat of conversation. So I've seen some of their stuff, or if they're on a podcast or whatever, but I don't want to dive too deep, because then I just feel like I'm an interviewer, and I don't want to feel like it's an interview. I just want to feel like it's just a natural conversation. And usually I want to go off what they say, right? So if it's a song from high school, you know, then I can talk a little bit about what were they like in high school? You know, who was their girlfriend in high school? So I'm just trying to like feed off what they're give me. If they're like really, you know, we all get those guests where it's like, yeah, I like that song because I like to dance. It's like, oh, fuck, really? Like, okay. So, you know, now I gotta be creative, right? So I have like maybe 10 questions that I like to ask all the time, like pet peeves, right? I like to know that kind of stuff to get them riled up. You know, I want to know if they're single, sex life, stuff like that. So I got a few questions that I like to ask on a regular basis, and then everything else is just kind of random.
We're definitely not single, so don't even think about asking us.
Are you guys swingers too, or no? Just
no, just just a monogamous couple that is very, very much in love, and she loves me so much. You see that?
That looks like love.
That does look like love.
I'm still mad at you from earlier. So.
Oh yeah.
What did you do?
He found this app that had like noises to trigger dogs, and there was some like really high pitched whistles. And he said, "Oh, now I know how to get all three of you in check." So.
That's right. Oh, the look on her face when I went to 14,000 hertz.
That's awesome. That's so funny that you guys were doing sound stay. My husband was trying to fix the doorbell, and our dog goes psycho. We have a Cane Corso Mastiff, and he goes psycho when the doorbell rings. So we have not had a doorbell for like 2 years, and I'm like, we need a doorbell. Like, I'm getting tired of not knowing my skip to dishes dinner is outside, right? Like, they don't tell you that I go up there and it's like cold, right? So he's trying to fix it, and it's like a nightmare right now. He's still working. It's like you would think he just pull the doorbell off, put it back on, and it's done. It's like a 5-hour project. He's playing guitar and having a drink now because he's so stressed out about the doorbell.
Aww. You should have him come on and play guitar for us.
Yeah, he would.
I'm serious.
Get him to come up here and play a little jingle. I'll text him.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's meet Annette's husband, Mr. E. Smith.
Mr. E. Smith. T-Bone. I call him my producer. I even got him a shirt made.
Ooh, fancy.
See
this one doesn't even get me any shirts made.
No, I see your little... I was going to say she probably bought that shirt you're wearing.
She did. So I'm really into like 50s style.
Yeah.
You know, and the bowling shirts and stuff like that. And she really feeds into that and just buys me whatever I want. And she's like, what about this one? And I'm like, I want that. It has pinup on it. Yeah, definitely that one. So
you have a couple of these I've bought you. So
I do.
I say he looks like Charlie Sheen in 2.5.
How long have you guys been married for?
Bowling shirts.
And I say I just look like 2.5 men.
You're a dork.
I love it.
And for our
you guys been married for a long time?
Doesn't know what I look like.
Almost 2.5 years.
Almost 2.5 years.
Oh,
almost 2.5 years.
Wow, good for you guys.
No, a year and a half.
Wait, we're like almost 2.5. No, it's been a year and a half. We got married.
It's
in 2020.
6 months. It's been. Oh, during COVID. Was it during COVID?
Yeah, it was like right at like like when they started like allowing us to like do things, and it was like very little. Our guest list was chopped in half.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. It was
I
absolutely crazy. Our wedding is actually on YouTube, and I will send you a link after the podcast.
Yeah, I'd
it's
love
like
that.
15 minutes long. We were married by the Grim Reaper.
No way.
Which was, I mean, we're divas, so if we're gonna go in, we're gonna go in hard.
Yeah. Did you propose to her a really special way?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yes, I did.
In the bathroom.
Oh. Okay.
I saw the look on her face.
I was wondering.
There's a story. There is a story there. While we're waiting for Mr. E. Smith. So like at the
beginning of the pandemic.
Okay, let's go back even further than this. All right, so we already knew that it was going to happen. She just didn't know where and when. Okay. Mm-hmm. And her birthday is March 15th. My birthday is March 16th. So I was like, hey, let's go out for our birthdays. You know, our birthdays are one day apart. So like, I'm like, hey, let's go out to our birthdays, you know, and it's March 15th. She was having like a kind of a crummy day anyway. So I'm like, let's go out to Arnie's, you know, it's one of our favorite joints to go to. And then our governor comes on the TV and shuts down all the restaurants. Like on March 15th, the day I was going to propose.
As I'm getting ready to leave.
Yeah. So I, in a rush,
Yeah.
And by the way, she never officially said yes. It just happened. But in a rush, I thought, what's the most spontaneous thing I could do? Well, when she gets out of the shower, I bust through the door with her ring. I open it up and I go, and she goes, I fucking knew it.
I knew it would happen in the bathroom.
Yeah. She did not get any clothes on at that point. Like, it happened absolutely naked. And yeah,
I love it.
I told you, we don't do anything normal.
No. No.
I love it. My birthday's March 1st and our anniversary is March 17th.
Hey, Pisces.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
He's not answering me. He must be in his zone. So
He's
when he
gotta
sees
be
that,
in
I'm
the zone. I completely
playing in the
understand
zone.
being in the zone. Totally understand that. All right, so you your guests, I noticed like a lot of them are, like probably your friends. I could tell between your interactions and stuff like that. Is it easier to deal with like people like that than say a remote person that you've never met before?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I'm not conceited or anything, but I believe I can build a connection with somebody fairly quickly if they allow me. So obviously friends are easy because I know a lot about them and their background and I can bring up stories to like trigger stuff. But I find friends don't share as much as somebody that maybe is a stranger. So I have to go in and just approach it the same way. Right? We have some ground rules before we get started. And it's pretty simple. It's like, hey, if I ask a question, you don't want to answer it, you just say pass, but you only get 3 passes. You pass on all 3, you're going to do a dare. Right? But I can generally read them pretty quickly if I know how dirty I can get on the podcast. Like, I did a podcast the other day and, the first 5 words he said he's a Christian musician, which I had no idea. So all of a sudden I just said, fuck, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just can't even help myself, but I want to see how far I can push the limit a little bit. He didn't flinch. So I was like, okay, I can be myself. Right. And so that, I don't know. I just kind of tested. I test the waters. Some people I'm not really getting like that much of a vibe from. So, and then when I go and interview somebody that is in the music industry, I find it more of a challenge because they want to be really scripted. They don't really want, not all of them, but they don't want to share the stalking stories or like something that could potentially get out there to the world that they might not want out there to the world. So I like to do, friends, podcasts, people that are open more than I like to do that because I want it to be real and raw. I don't want to have you on my show and then you're like, oh no, I can't talk about that. Oh no, I don't want to talk about that. And they don't necessarily have to say that. I can just see it in their face. Like they're like, oh shit, I don't really want to talk about that. I can just tell like how they're answering the questions.
And I'm just going to go ahead and let you know when we do your show, because it will happen. I don't know when, but when we do your show, don't hold back.
I sent you an email. So you just send me the songs and we'll book you for September or August.
I will do my best. Like I said, I'm trying to get all my band on board. So it's,
that'll be fun.
It may be just a few of us. It may just be a couple of us, but we're going to do it. So it's just a matter of when I can get all the responses I need back. But don't hold back. I mean, the person that is going in with me definitely is my violinist. Her name's Leah. Very, very strong moral woman.
She does not cuss.
She does not cuss. She doesn't do anything. I'm telling you, don't fucking hold back ever. Like, ask her all the questions: butt play, masturbation, whatever you want. No problems there.
I love it. I love it.
And I'm also going to make sure she listens to this episode so she knows what to expect.
That I'm going to ask about butt play too. So she's going to be like, okay, I knew you were going to ask that question.
That's right. That's right.
So she was prepared, right? She was prepared for the butt play questions, right?
Yeah. We'll make damn sure she is.
Yeah.
Do you find that talking about music with people kind of does open them up a little bit more? Because music is something that's so personal to people. Do you find that it's easier for them to open up then?
I do. I love that you asked that question because I didn't really understand what I was getting into when I first started at all. I really didn't. It was people that I knew. I was surprised because, again, I feel like I couldn't come up with 10 songs. So I was surprised when I would sit down with somebody I knew or even I didn't know, and how in depth they could remember this memory, or how in depth, the situation. I've dealt with suicide. I've dealt with, drowning. I've dealt with so many, infidelity, you name it, right? Where I was just like, wow, divorce, infidelity, like so many different things that I couldn't even imagine. Like I didn't even think that first of all, somebody would put that on their playlist, right? Like to be vulnerable enough to speak about that again to somebody that may not have ever heard that story before. I was just shocked. And then just felt so blessed that they entrusted in me that they could share that story. Like I said, I just had that guy on my show the other day, and I can't tell you what it was, but he was just like, I just feel like I need to share this with you. Right. I've always been a really good listener, and I feel people do share a lot with me. And then I have had a couple people kind of reach back out to me and say, hey, I'm just curious if maybe you could delete that part. Right. Like I'm not ready for the world to hear that. Like I've dealt with rape. I've dealt with incense. Like I've dealt with so much that I'm just so flabbergasted that, again, you're picking the songs so the memories. So I'm shocked on both sides. I'm shocked that, hey, I gave you free reign to pick the songs so the memories. So you are kind of controlling the podcast in a sense, right? If you don't want to talk about something, then don't pick that song that reminds you of that thing. So it blows me away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and when people get personal like that now, especially in what we're doing, you kind of have to pick and choose your battles, especially say if you know the person or something like that, you might take it upon yourself to kind of remove some information that that might be hurtful to them later or something like that. Have you ever taken that kind of liberty?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, for sure. Right. And it's just been little things, right? Little things. I had an amazing friend who is an artist on my show, and he said something like going to Pound Town with his wife, right? we removed that.
We go to Pound Town all the time.
Wasn't a big deal, but that's right. But I think it was just in the content and the way he said it. It just was a good idea to remove that. And I always ask, right at the end, I just say, hey, is there anything that, because people forget what they share, and then they listen, and then they forget the podcast altogether, and then it comes out and it's like, holy shit, I said I fuck two dudes on a Friday. One, like what? Like, I don't know if I want everybody to know that. Right. Well, everybody knows it now, so I don't know what you want me to do about it. So, right. But again, it's not all dirty. Like I've found probably my last, call it 20 episodes where it hasn't, because it's gone down these crazy, weird rabbit holes that it's like, oh, okay. Like you don't go, hey, somebody committed suicide, and then like, hey, when did you lose your virginity? You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to play, like I try to like stop them to go down that rabbit hole by like throwing a random question in there for they don't continue the rabbit hole, because then now we're on a totally different podcast then. You know what I mean? Where they're,
Yeah,
You're just like,
and
I
I
got to
mean,
get you out of this rabbit hole. However, I got to do that. So change
yeah,
the
see,
state, shock them with a question.
Mhm.
yeah, see, with our podcast, it goes any direction we want it to go. Sometimes they're real deep and dark, and sometimes they're funny and light.
Yeah.
Like it's just, but something like that, we don't do a whole lot of editing unless it's asked of us. Um, but like if it's something that I feel might hurt the person later, I won't. I either won't like air that part or air the episode depending on who it is,
Mhm.
and what kind of repercussions it could have. And it's all, I mean, just like any other podcast, it's all in the guest release.
Yeah.
Like you have the right to remove that information. It sucks, but like
Yeah.
if you feel that could slander the person, or or even put marks on your show, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah, for sure.
but
Yeah. It's interesting what people share for sure.
I was gonna say I find it funny that one of the episodes that I laughed the most while making was the one with Steph, and she was talking about her husband who almost killed her.
Yeah.
Like it was weird. Just
it was a very strange episode.
Yeah, it was very weird, but it was fun.
I mean, she came in, she was like, no, it's fine, I'll talk about it, no problem.
We're friends still.
Yeah.
It's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, okay, word, got you, fam, let's do this.
Do you guys interview a lot of your friends too?
We've interviewed almost all of our friends, actually. We don't
Yeah?
have a whole lot of friends. We're not very social people. So
My dad and stepmom actually just sent him a message the other day and said they want to be on our podcast. And I'm like, that's weird.
it's weird, but I'm totally going to ask them all the fun questions.
No.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, how many times do you guys have sex in a week? And what do you guys do? Is it like boob play? Is it butt play? Is it mutual masturbation?
Is there any foreplay at all? Or is it just like,
Wham,
get it
bam,
in, get it out?
good night.
I'm gonna be absent that episode.
It's gonna be Memoirs of a Modern Marriage with your host Dave.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then I'll have them on my podcast, and then we can use the same questions that you guys asked and answer, and then I can change it up a bit.
Fantastic. We'll guest swap. I dig it. I dig it.
So I do have a kind of a weird question. Do you ever get somebody's playlist and you just kind of laugh at it because the songs are just ridiculous?
Yeah. I've got, it's crazy because people, I think with the name Music Junkies, a lot of artists think that I'm potentially a producer. So on Instagram, I get tons of people sending me their music, right? Hey, can you listen to this song? Can you listen? And I do, right? But I've had lots of playlists that are, I'm like, there's like been a few that I don't know really any of the songs. And I'm like, I don't know where the fuck this is going to go. Like, I don't know any of this. And I know a lot of music. So I'm like, I don't know where it's going to go. But those ones are usually the most fun because I'm like, really? Like, where did, like, this song is, like, there's a song I'll have to send it to you. It's called Wild Strawberries. And it's like insane. It's probably one of the craziest songs I've ever heard in my life. But it's from my girlfriend. She's from Australia and it's an Australian band, but it like, you would never listen to it. Like you wouldn't, like not even cleaning the house on speed, you would not listen to it. Like, it's just so random. So I'm always curious, like, what does this song mean to you? Like, what memory does this song bring up? But yes. And then there's the opposite where I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to interview you because it's like all old 80s hair band. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in. This guy's or this gal, whatever, is going to be awesome. So it's it's the bands that you think are going to be on those playlists. That's a big thing too. For the first time after maybe 100 episodes, I had somebody like Pink Floyd, like had not been on an episode. I just there's Led Zeppelin had not been on an episode. Red Hot Chili Peppers have not been on an episode. So it's so bizarre, like types of music. I haven't had like Motley Crue or Metallica or, Madonna. I haven't even had. And you would think
Right.
that those artists, some of them anyways, would be on people's playlists, but it's crazy.
I am definitely picking Madonna.
Like a virgin.
Like a virgin. I think we froze up.
Like a virgin.
Yeah.
I think we're good now. We were a little frozen there.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
It's
like a
on my end,
virgin.
it's showing
Do that
we're
one, and
we're
then we
both
can talk
muted,
about it.
like, yeah, because I am a father twice over, and I am still pure.
Mm-hmm.
Just so we know.
By heart.
Yeah, I am.
So does that mean like no anal
I
play? What does that pure part mean?
mean, I mean.
I was just thinking, I mean, this is kind of a great way to open yourself up to more music too, because I mean, I get pretty pigeonholed in what I listen to. So this would be a really great way to experience a lot of different music that maybe you wouldn't ever hear of before. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of it. That's my favorite part and my favorite place to listen to it is we have some property about an hour outside of Calgary, like by a lake, and we go there quite regularly on the weekends. That is my favorite time. It's like I get to listen to somebody's playlist, and then I get to get into their head a little bit, right? And my husband's driving, I'm listening to the playlist, and I get to like create some questions from that, right? And that's my favorite part of it. And I actually have a playlist on my Spotify, and there's probably, I don't know, maybe 300 songs on there that I've added from people's playlists that I have not heard and absolutely fell in love with. So that's been incredible because I love music. And some of them have became my favorite songs where I'm like, oh my God, I love this song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Past Euphoria is on that, right?
Yeah, it is now.
But yeah, I think it's a great way to kind of get people to share their experiences too, because I'll tell you what, I forget. I mean, I like the concept of what you're doing so much that I started reflecting on a lot of the music that I listened to in the past, and like started like kind of regaling memories to said songs. Now don't get me wrong, I am pretty one dimensional when it comes to music.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit I won't listen to.
Yeah.
But like
anything I suggest to you.
Yeah, anything she suggests to me. Because I don't want to jump off of a building.
So give me an example of a song that might make you want to jump off a building.
Okay, well, anything by the Avett Brothers.
No. Famous Blue Raincoat by Leonard Cohen.
Oh my God, I wanted to shoot myself so bad. I was just, it's 4 a.m. I'm like, fuck it all, I'm done.
I can't take it anymore.
You also, I've tried getting you to listen to Gogo Bordello, and you hate them.
It's because he.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, well, when he sings, it sounds like he's like.
It's a lot.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it's just
like
that
purple song.
Start. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? It's like
start wearing purple.
Yeah. That's the first song that pops in my head when you said that band's name. I was like, and again, I haven't heard them for, I don't know, probably 5-6 years. Like one of my husband's niece was like addicted to them. So she shared it with him, and then my husband was listening to it all the time. And I felt like I wanted to shoot myself in the fucking head because I was like, this is a lot. right?
is.
It's
There's
like
a
very
lot going on.
fast punk, right? Which I don't mind, but I was like, it's not, again, it's not my go-to. It's not like, oh my God, I'm waking up, I need to go start wearing purple.
Right. And
he says it sounds like circus music.
it sounds like circus music with, like, I don't know, Ukrainian overdub.
He's
Yeah.
Ukrainian.
Yeah. I mean, as far as punk is concerned, I'm actually a fan of, like, the Misfits, and like, I'm just like, I'm into that kind of stuff. But she's like, oh yeah, no, it's totally punk, and I'm like, oh cool. And this guy gets on and he's like, start wearing purple.
I know.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I was expected to be like crowd surfed with a bunch of like little people and
yeah, snakes.
Right.
It's funny because like he's introduced me to music that he likes, and I fall in love with it. I like it now, and I listen to it.
It's because I listen to good music.
And anything I'm like, oh, you should check this out. He's like, no, I hate it. So.
I mean,
I love everything. My husband's introduced me to a lot of, like, he was very old school punk as well, like Misfits and Bouncing Souls and Rancid. And I hadn't really listened to much of that stuff. So I love it now, right? I never listened to it back in the day, but I love it now.
Yeah, they don't make it like they used to. Now it's
like, I hate that you have to pay $1 for a song, but could you imagine going and paying $15-$30 for an album nowadays and getting like one song that you like because the rest of the album sucks dick?
Well, and see, that's something that like my band is starting to catch on to, because I've noticed like everybody's like releasing singles anymore,
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're writing a new album, when we release music, we're going to release it one at a time. Whereas this past album, it was all consolidated. It was just one big live album, I think I'm late to that trend, but I kind of noticed it, and I was like, maybe they're onto something. Because you can make more money that way, I think, because people will purchase that one song. Like you said, the B-sides could be trash,
Yeah.
Which I think our B-sides are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Look at her face. I don't know if she's bi. She's like, I'm agreeing with you, but I don't know if I'm all in.
She's like, I'm just avoiding a fight later.
He wrote a song for me, and anytime I say my favorite song is Strangers by the Kinks, he's like, oh yeah, it's so awesome that they wrote that song just for you. It's not like somebody else didn't write a song for you.
I come in hard with them.
Sounds like you're a little heartbroken about that. Sounds like there's a little heartbreak about that.
I'm a little bit sad about it. Yeah.
You do rub it in my face that like, oh, I wrote it for you, and then I sang it at our wedding for you.
I did.
Wow.
I did it to make her feel like a queen. And she did. And then she just forgot all about the song. She's like, oh,
Dre.
no.
Okay, Dr. Dre.
Why? Because you forgot about the song that I wrote for you?
Yeah.
Well, then I'll write another one. Happens about once a decade for Dre anyway, right? Oh, man. I am not high enough for this.
My husband played his vows at our wedding. He sang, but they were his vows. So he actually kind of sang a song as well. So that is nice. And it does make you feel amazing. And how, obviously you're in a band, but he is not, right? To do that in front of all of our guests, I was impressed. And we got married in Mexico, and he assumed that there was going, we're going to Mexico, they'll have guitars there at the hotel, and they didn't. So all the best men went out the night before and went and bought a guitar and brought it there for the ceremony. And I have it. My brother gave it to me for Christmas. Like his brother gave it to me for a Christmas present, and it's on my wall. So it's never been played. It's only been played for our wedding. So I think it's amazing, Liz, that he sang a song for you. I think it makes you feel amazing. And you know that there's like 40 girls in the crowd that's never had that done for. And you're like, that's right. I got a song sung to me, not by some drunk loser in a bar, but by this guy in front of all of you, which is really cool.
That's right. I'll tell you what.
You were kind of drunk.
I was very drunk. But the way I remember is the room went completely silent, and then out of nowhere, you could just hear panties dropping.
Oh, one by one.
Yeah, one by one. You just heard it.
Those are big panties. You might not want to look over on that side. If you can hear panties drop, that's a problem.
Well, it was more like a wet slashy noise, but
I knew we could get a little bit more dirtier. I knew that we could go a little bit more dirtier.
Oh, man. Man, whose podcast is this? Are we doing your show?
I love it. It's awesome.
I'll tell you what, like it was an experience, and I mean, for me, I was really nervous because at that point I hadn't performed in quite a while on stage, you know. But like this was at the time, it wasn't my band. It was just like the project, you know. It was our core members, you know, like my bass player and my guitar, but we did it all acoustic. You know, I didn't have a drummer. I didn't have a lead guitarist. It was just us three on stage. It was like real Titanic-esque, you know?
Yeah.
Where like, I sat her on stage, and she didn't know it was going to happen until it happened, you know? And then my aim was to make her feel powerful, you know? And by that, I mean, like, she was the most important person in the room, because she was. You know, and she still is. She's the most important person in every room we're in. You know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll give you head later.
But, you know, that's right. Dave just wanted a blowjob.
I'll put that on the tally.
But and I think the goal was achieved, you know, like she had a blast that night.
Was it, Liz? Was it achieved?
Yes. Yeah, because they brought a chair on stage and they had me sit there, and I was in the spotlight, and I felt special, and it was just for me. It was a song written for me, so.
Yeah. And to be completely honest with you, like, Liz had the time of her life at the wedding. Yeah. I, on the other hand, was running around like a fucking chicken with my head cut off, making sure everything was right.
Yeah, you handled everything, so I didn't have to do anything.
That's
like,
nice.
We did our dances together, and then I pretty much broke away from her, and I had to make sure everybody was like happy.
You were paying off the people.
I was paying motherfuckers off. You know, we had to go take care of Rudy in the back, you know, like, you know, he fucked up a little bit, so we had to, you know, ruffle him up some.
I love it.
Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, it was a fun wedding. Like, I'll send you the link to the YouTube.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Yeah. You got more questions?
I was actually going to ask you, so what is I know you said that you wouldn't be able to pick like a whole playlist, but what is your like all-time favorite song?
Oh, geez. Right now, all-time favorite that I love, that still I absolutely love hearing, and it was from a guest that I've never heard before, which was really cool, and it's called Burning Man. And I'm not a country person at all. And that song, and I think it's just the lyrics. And I'm not a lyric person either, right? Like, I don't go, oh God, I love these lyrics. I noticed that from doing this podcast. A lot of people say that, oh, the lyrics speak to me. I'm like, you have a song that the lyrics are like You know what I mean? I've never really thought of music like that.
Right.
So this song, it's the lyrics. So it's crazy. That song I could listen to like right now. I don't know if it's not my all-time favorite, I don't think, but that's the first song that pops in my head that I can hear it 15 times a day and still get the same feeling from this song. And it's just from the lyrics. Because I just think it's so true. The lyrics are just so true. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I can't remember who sings it, but go Google it and listen to it. Burning Man. I can send it to you.
Yeah. We'd like to check it out.
And it is country. I don't know if you.
I don't.
Dirk,
but I mean,
Dirk Bentley. That's who it is.
That sounds country.
Yeah, it's totally
sounds
country.
very country.
It's totally country.
So do you?
I'm sending it to you.
Do you kind of go through spells where you you only listen to like maybe one band for a while and then you kind of switch it up and then you get in a mood for like another band and like that's your favorite song? Is it like a rotating?
No, actually, I've never really been like that. I've always been so much mixed to music that I've never really been so obsessed with an album. It's just like, and I think you would never want to play Name That Tune with me because of that. Because I know so much music and I've just been like, I'll listen to a song over and over, don't get me wrong, but I just can't just sit there and listen to like one album over and over and over and over and over again. I've never been like that since I can remember listening to music like on my own, like picking my own stuff besides like my parents listening to music. I've always been like everything. Oh, hey, let's listen to the 50s, to this song from the 50s. And then like, hey, let's go to like some crazy trap music. And then like, hey, let's listen to Metallica, Kill 'Em All. Like I'm always all over the place. I've always been like that. So if somebody was to like look at my playlist it's like so random. People are like, you need to send me this playlist because it's all over the place and I can delete what I don't like. But because it's all over the place, I've always been like that. I think it's just because I'm like that. I'm all over the place.
So, the reason Liz asked that is actually she likes to listen to, if she's getting into, like currently she's into the Violent Femmes. So she goes through these like spells where she'll listen to just one artist and one artist only. We go to sleep listening to one podcast and one podcast only. When we watch a TV show, it's one TV show and one TV show only. I can tell you every single word to Stand Against Evil, and that's partially my doing. I love Stand Against Evil, but like we both really love Stand Against Evil.
We quote "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia" to each other, like
sometimes we'll have entire conversations like that. And like we'll go through, like she'll listen to Logic and just listen to Logic, and that's it. Or Prof. We'll listen to Prof, and then she'll just listen to Prof, and that's
Logic
all we listen
is my go-to comfort.
Yeah. And I've often asked her why, and she says, well, when it comes to TV, like if she watches something over and over and over again, she finds comfort in knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And with music, I assume it's about the same thing, only in a different context.
Yeah, and I mean, and it does switch. Like right now, like all I'm listening to is the Violent Femmes, where 2 weeks ago, all I was listening to was Prof, and so I just kind of cycle through.
I bet you've never
heard Prof. It drives me kind of crazy to listen. Like my son, my husband's playlist, it's called Cana Copious. And so like he has like a chunk of songs that he likes to listen to if he's downstairs doing something, playing guitar, whatever it is. It drives me crazy because I want to hear something new potentially that I've never heard before, or maybe I haven't heard for a long time. That's why I think I don't listen to the radio. It's the same fucking song. Like, be creative. You're a DJ. Like, you get to pick whatever fucking song on the radio, and we hear Journey 17 times. Like, they have other songs, so it's
the exact reason I stopped listening to Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd.
It's just like, there's other songs, it's, and that's what I think is so shitty, is that people get just kind of pocketed, right? So it's like, hey, I like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or I like whatever, and it's just like Under the Bridge or Suck My Kiss, and it's like, but there's 19 other albums. And there's probably another 4 or 5 songs out of those 19 albums that are really good. There's more than that, but you know what I'm saying? But they just continue to play that. So when I play something new and they're like, oh my God, like that's from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm like, yeah, like there's other songs by them. So I hate those. I like the overplayed songs, but I hate listening to them. Like if Sweet Carolina comes on, I want to fucking stab myself in the neck as quickly as possible and bleed out.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh no, I understand that 100%.
Yeah, you say that about Led Zeppelin. Like you don't like the radio Led Zeppelin songs. You like
I like Achilles' Last Stand, and stuff that you don't ever fucking hear. You know,
that's right.
And myself personally, like something like that actually happened to me. What you were just talking about. I was at work the other day, and I was listening to Skinned from Blind Melon. Okay.
Yes. Perfect example.
Right, and it's a fucking fantastic song. I mean, all of Blind Melon songs are fantastic.
Are Changed by Blind Melon, which nobody knows. I play it. They're like, this is the most amazing song in the world. It's like, yeah, it's better than fucking Rain.
Yeah, for real. And like, that's their go-to. Like, oh, is that band that does that No Rain song? And I'm just like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, with the Bumblebee. Like, yeah, I get it. But you know what? The album is really good.
And they're like, oh, that chick's pretty hot. And I'm like, get out of my house. Get out of my house.
He's 5. Like, what the fuck's wrong with
you? First off, he's 28 and dead. Second, he's a dude.
Yeah, it's weird.
But like, yeah, so like when, I was playing Skin the other day and I had to give a lesson on it. Like, oh yeah, the song's about Ed Gein. For real? Who's that?
Oh my God.
Done. We're done.
That's a lot.
Get out, you uncultured swine.
I think 1 second I have to plug my computer in. It's gonna low battery here. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I didn't plug my laptop in. Yep, that's a great example. I love that you use Blind Melon because I experience that all the time because I love that song Change, right? Yeah. And it's crazy how many people do not know that song, and it's such a good song.
Oh, it is. It is. It is. Hold on just a second. I got a treat for you.
Okay.
So, I found it.
Oh, a harmonica.
Yeah, you brought up Change, so... Oh, wrong side. It's been a minute.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That song Change makes me, you know how you said what song? Like that's another one of those songs where it's like you just want to scream it because you're just kind of feeling the lyric, and that's kind of how I feel about Burning Man. I just feel the lyric where the world that we live in today and all the fucking craziness. That song is like, yeah. I love that you did that. That was awesome.
I figured you wouldn't mind, a little bit of harmonica play,
Yeah, I love it.
That kind of stuff, and a little bedroom action between me and her,
Yeah, I'm like, geez, he plays harmonica. He must be good downstairs.
Yeah. That's right. I go down there and in between each, and as I fade away.
She's like, you're gonna if you keep. As she's squeezing her thighs against your ears.
One eye pops out. It's absolutely a regular night in the Barbucci household.
I love it.
Hell yes.
You are your own biggest fan.
I am my own biggest fan. I think every musician is their own biggest fan. I don't give a fuck what they say.
Yeah. And I think you have to be like that.
Yeah. Like, fuck everybody else. I'll fucking play for me, But like, if people like me, awesome. I'm down with that. But fuck it.
Yeah. I think there's too many babies in the world. Right? It's like everything affects them. And I hate that part of social media too, where it's like, I don't want to say this because I'm worried that this is going to happen. It's like, why? What, three people are not going to like what you said and then 9,000 are? Like, who cares? Block them. There's this crazy thing out there called blocking somebody. You never have to hear from them again. They never have to see your content again. Fuck, I love blocking people. Oh, you're a dick? Block.
I have a song that I wrote back in the day, and I actually have it on the podcast Fudge That Witch.
Yeah.
The song that I wrote is called "Fuck That Bitch," and it actually talks about just that topic, like about people being offended by, you know, and me having to pull my song because like I felt it might offend somebody.
Yeah.
And then I put it out on a podcast.
We were listening to a podcast last night, and there was a trigger warning because they were talking about illegitimate children, and I'm like, what? Like, oh, we're gonna say natural children and not natural or something like that, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, remember when it was okay to just say they were bastards? Like,
yeah. And we used to brag about slapping them and sending them to their room without dinner.
Right. Yeah, those were the days.
I miss those. Well, my kids are moved on and moved out, so I'll still slap them if they're bad. I don't care.
My son just turned 18. You know, I'm 40. We're just living our best life now, and not really giving a shit what we say or who we offend or anything like that. Because the fact of the matter is I have 7 loyal listeners.
Yeah. Hey, they're loyal. That's all that matters, right? Doesn't matter the number. They're loyal.
That's right. But and like, no, I mean, today's society is the pits. Like, it's the pits. I can tell you so many, like, if we were on your podcast right now and I put on some songs, it would be like Lords of Acid, and it would be like, you know, like shit like that. Like, this is shit I grew up with. Like, you know, I don't know if you know who Lords of Acid is.
I do. I can't even believe you said that because I'm going to listen to them after this. I've not literally heard them for like 10 years.
Yeah. I sit on acid. That was my shit. All right. like Pussy. What? Nobody was writing songs like that back then.
Yeah, I know.
And now somebody writes a song like that and they're like, oh, she's an empowered woman.
No,
and
she's not. She's trying to make money.
Half of the world is saying that and the other half is offended by it, you know?
Yeah.
I personally don't give a fuck.
Just don't listen to it.
Right.
Like, nobody's forcing you to listen to it. It's so crazy. You know what? I'm angry at, then stop watching, stop listening. I'm offended. Don't listen to me. Like, I don't, you know, I'm not here to cater to you.
And that's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. We are given this gigantic platform we call the internet, and people are using it for good and bad. And like, the thing is whenever like you get somebody who's like trying to poison you with ideas that what you're doing is wrong, I mean, to a degree, it depends. Now, like, you know, do I feel racism is wrong? Yes, 100%. I do believe that everybody should love each other, you know, but do I believe that they should change a fucking song from like, you know, way back just because a man and a woman were talking about having sex with each other and the woman didn't want to, you know?
Yeah. Come in from the cold, out from the cold, or... Yeah, we need to change that because then or whatever. It's not the Dixie Chicks anymore. It's the Chicks. It's like, you're a fucking sellout.
Yeah, for real.
I was reading an article the other day about how like 80s movies that should be canceled because they were inappropriate. And it was like John Hughes movies, 16 Candles.
What?
And yeah, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
As long as it's not Purple Rain, we're okay.
Yeah.
That is her shit. She loves Purple Rain.
I fucking love Purple Rain. I forced my husband to watch that on Mother's Day because that's your day, and you get to force people to watch shit you haven't even seen in 20 years. And we watched Dirty Dancing and Purple Rain, and I think my husband actually wanted to kill himself all through them.
Well, I am fortunate that she shares the same movie interests that I do, minus like a few. I save
those for when you're at work.
Yeah. like on her special day, we'll watch the Evil Dead trilogy, which is fascinating. Like,
You did not like Wrist Cutters, a love
I
story.
did not like Wrist Cutters, a love story.
It was good.
Yeah. I saw it the other day in the DVD pile. I'm like, hey, we should trade this in. And you're like, no.
No.
I haven't seen it, so now I got to put that one in because I haven't seen it either.
And like that's I think when her and I, like, we have the same humor, like we're virtually the same person minus our music tastes.
Yeah.
And the fact that she has an innie and I have an outie.
That's a big difference. That's a big difference.
It's huge. It's huge.
That's what they all say. That's what they all say.
The difference, not the pecker.
It's average.
They all say anytime a guy can include huge in when he's talking about his penis, it's a good day. It's a good day.
That's right. I call him Big Tiny.
It's like a massive head and skinny little body.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like a 5-year-old going to war.
Now I'm having visions of that. I'm like, I'm not quite sure. It's like, yeah, okay.
This conversation is by far my favorite.
You know what I actually thought of? I bought new gauged earrings, and one's bigger than the other. So
it's got one big ear, and one little ear.
Yeah, so it was
we call that bitch Biggie Smalls.
That's hilarious.
Because now one is gauged a little bit bigger than the other.
Oh, I love her. Do you have any more? Okay. So we are actually at an hour, so I don't think I have to do a whole lot of editing today because I think this has been an awesome conversation.
Yeah.
I am not cutting shit out.
Good. I love it.
Yes. We're going to keep it all in there. But would you like to kind of have the stage and tell us about your future of the podcast? You have some guests coming up that you want to showcase, maybe a link to, or you can say what your website is, all that jazz.
Sure. Yeah, you can pretty much find me on any social media platform under Music Junkies Podcast. Season 2 is coming out August 1st, which is exciting. And we have some amazing, amazing guests, like calling all captains. We got lots of actors. We got some producers. We got some songwriters. This second season is crazy. I feel like we're just getting better and better and better. And the quality of people, obviously, is just unbelievable. So come join us on Music Junkies. If you ever want to be on the show, I'd love to hear from you. Right? You just need to have a good attitude, lots of fun, and some humor. Right? That's it. The big one, humor. Let's say that again. Got to be willing to laugh, which is a good thing. And Liz, I want to do you and like either by yourself or together, because I think it would be like tons of fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. You can do him with Past Euphoria, and then I'll just do an episode.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
There you go. Liz has never actually been on a podcast solo.
Yeah.
So this would be a great experience for her. Yeah, I think it would be great.
Yeah.
So, End Explosion. She has season 2 coming out. Boom! All right. Everybody look out for it. Annette, I want to thank you so much. We loved having you on.
Yeah, thank you.
I would like to have you on again another time.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be awesome. Yeah. And until then, we are Memoirs of a Modern Marriage. We are your hosts. My name is Dave.
And I'm Liz.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.